Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Man, I'll tell you what, if the woke cult out there wasn't completely and totally delusional and lived inside of their own bubble and didn't actually see the writing on the wall out there, I don't know what we'd make videos over anymore. Actually, I'd make it all over the good and happy stuff that I actually like and I'm excited about, like Space Marine 2 and all those kind of things out there. But at the end of the day, until a world like that happens, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to document the disastrous dumpster fire that is all things gaming. And in this situation, we have Dustborn, which of course is arguably a very huge, disastrous dumpster fire of a game. Obviously not as big as Concord, which is probably going to go down as the #1 video game disaster in history. But there was another game released this year, Dustborn, that was literally injected and infested with nothing more than the spirit of the age ideology out there. I mean, literally going as far as using things like canceling people as an actual in-game combat tactic. Yes, boys and girls, I am not kidding you in any way, shape, or form. It is that insane. It is absolutely that crazy. And apparently, the director refuses to admit that the game has flopped, even though the numbers are very obvious, and says it wasn't intentional to have all of the political pandering inside of the game. Yeah, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this guy just literally lives in his own little bubble, if he's just extremely delusional, but either way, it is very obvious he is possessed by the spirit of the age and needs to be shamed for these absolute insane comments and denying of the actual reality around him. And boys and girls, we have the actual reality of that as well, because we have some of the current really most recent Steam numbers for this game out there, and needless to say, it is an abysmal failure by any way you try to cut it. So we're going to check out this article from Bounding Comics, getting into all of the insane, idiotic things this guy is trying to say by denying reality. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does it surprise you at all that a person behind the creation of such a spirit of the age possessed game like Dustborn is living in their own bubble and is completely and totally delusional about the reality around the world? Did you actually try Dustborn out there? Were you one of the very few players that actually gave it a chance? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. So from Bounding into Comics and our dear sweet Spencer Bakuli, Dustborn director refuses to admit game was a flop, rejects criticism regarding story writing. We don't feel we've made a game that's primarily about politics. Oh, really? Oh, really? Shout out to Spencer, because you guys are going to love this. Quick question, dear reader. In regards to Dustborn, which is set in an alternative fascist version of the United States, depicted said regime enforcers rejecting the idea of politics and entertainment. Yes, you heard that right, boys and girls. That's literally part of the opening montage of this game, where the cop comes out and tells people they don't like politics in their entertainment. Could you be any more on the nose and attacking the audiences and the fans out there with knowing exactly what you're going to do? This is introduced in the first opening sequences of the game. That line is said. Yeah, this game's not political at all. And had players use the idea of canceling someone as a genuine combat mechanic. Would you consider the game to be explicitly political one, or one whose politics were incidentally to its adventure? I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I think they were intentionally trying to make a politically messaging game. Common sense suggests that most, if not all, players would place it under the former label, i.e. politics. However, the same cannot be said for CEO of Dustborn developer Red Thread Games, Ragnar Tornquist, who believes that not only is his game apolitical, oh really, but the critics accusing it of being such are completely off base. Oh yes, you mean the people that actually watched it and have been paying attention to what's been going on in the entertainment industry for, I don't know, the last decade or more. Yeah, we're completely off base concerning the fact that you're using all of the exact same tactics that the spirit of the age woke mob out there uses to try to go after anybody that disagrees with their cult. Yeah, I'm sure we're all just completely off base. Turnquist, who also served as the game's director, color us shocked there, offered his thoughts on players' rejection of the studio's latest game during a recent interview giving to Mikkel Lonning, the editor-in-chief over at some Norway game we don't care about. To start, the dev was directly asked by his host about the accusations the game was pushing a woke agenda, to which the developer asserted, It caught us completely off guard. Oh, really? It caused you completely off guard that your game was considered woke, even though you use canceling and bullying as tactics in your game, and everybody involved in your game is very much obviously a diversity hire. Oh, really? That means you're either delusional, lying, or you live in such a bubble that, well, you are all delusional. It goes back to the first one, actually. So you're either delusional or you're lying. One of the two. Me wonders which it is. We were very surprised by the extreme reaction to the launch, and we had no plans on how to handle it. Talk about somebody who doesn't understand the modern video game industry in any way, shape, or form. From there, Turnquist would turn to speak on the alleged wave of harassment and threats he and his team had supposedly received from critics. Admitting to Lonnie, you can easily ignore what's said on forums or on X. Emails feel a little bit closer to home, but receiving text messages where someone wishes you dead is unsettling. Well, first off, where are the receipts? Second off, if anybody is doing this, that is completely and totally wrong in any way, shape, or form. You have a million free speech platforms out there to express your opinion and let everyone else in the world know exactly how you feel, including these people's social media accounts. There is no reason to do, well, the emails I kind of understand thing, but there's no reason to do the text message thing. That is way past crossing the line. And I can understand I want the emails too, but getting a hold of somebody's phone number, way across the line. But once again, receipts, please, because we've heard these kind of accusations before with no actual evidence to prove them. We're a tiny studio. That's why it feels so blown out of proportion when we experience so many attacks and conspiracies. It takes a toll. Oh, conspiracies about calling out all of the obvious kind of stuff that you've been doing and the woke agenda behind your game? Yeah, I know. It's just a crazy conspiracy theory. It's been really tough for us to deal with. We're used to people not liking our games. Well, then why do you keep making games like this? But we appreciate well-argued reviews, even if they're negative. The difference here is the massive amount of negative feedback from people who have never played the game and never will. They just jump on the bandwagon of those making videos. Hi, yeah, us, the new press out there, yeah, us. But at the end of the day, we didn't have to play the game to actually know what it was all about or comment on it. You released trailers expecting commentary and feedback, and you got it. You released gameplay because you expect feedback and commentary, and guess what? You got it. And you didn't like it. You didn't expect it. It hurt your fifis because guess what? Anybody can watch a trailer and react to it. Oh, your poor fifis. We have to take the threat seriously. Fortunately, most of the team haven't been directly targeted. Oh, most of the team or any of the team? We've done what we can to support those who received personal messages. It's tough to see people talk about their work, calling them incompetent or lazy, and saying they should just quit making games. Well, you are incompetent, you are lazy. Instead of making a good quality game that actually inspired people to have a good time and have actually good storyline, you actually literally took nothing more than the woke agenda playbook and turned it into a video game. And you wonder why people don't think you should make games. On top of that, you've also never made a game that was financially profitable in the history of your company. You have depended on government handouts, literally taxpayer-funded handouts, in order to continue producing games. So no, yes, you should quit making games if you are depending on hardworking tax dollar money in order to produce a game, because guess what? The market itself does not want to buy it or purchase it, which is very obvious. So it's obviously difficult for us. Turning to discuss the game's actual content, Lanning then moved to ask his guest if he had expected any debate over some of the more obviously political correct aspects of the game. In turn, Turnquist explained, yes, but we were never out to provoke. Oh, really? So literally going out there and making the bad guys people who don't want politics in their entertainment. You weren't out there trying to provoke literally the majority of the audience out there who was pushed back against this agenda? Yeah, methinks not. We just wanted to make a game with characters that are different. Oh, you pulled that off all right. We didn't think it would be so controversial that a group would fight against a fascist regime. Well, I think it's more the tactics you're using and how you're depicting the quote-unquote fascists in your game. I think that might be part of the problem. I don't think many people want to live in a police state. And our version of the U.S. is by no means the real America. Oh, it's not real. It's just fiction, so it's okay. The use of pronouns has become relatively established in games. Oh, really? Because there's a lot of them that are moving away from it and not doing it anymore because of all of the backlash. By the way, how did that work out for Starfield? By the way, how did that yeah, fucking pronouns. That's right. And we knew people could react to that. But it was the reality we wanted to present. We don't feel we made games that's primarily about politics. It's more about language and relationships between people. Oh, of course it is. So for the next question, Lauding bluntly asked Tornquist if Dustborn's aforementioned combat system, which invites players to cancel or trigger or even bully their opponents, was actually supposed to be satire. However, rather than a direct answer, Tornquist instead opined, I think the game speaks for itself. It's over the top in many ways. Oh yes, we all completely agree that the game absolutely speaks for itself. That's why we've all called you out for your obviously slanted political agenda and your spirit of the age possessed video game. That's why. Yes, it does. It does. It's colorful. It's wonderful. And it's very much tongue-in-cheek. Oh, it's just a laugh. It's just a riot to have that much fun. Yada, yada, yada. Tornquist then turned to the game's critics and argued, it seems like people just twist everything we say with malicious intent. I haven't actually covered anything you've said. I've just covered what your game has shown us. They created a narrative that Red Thread is corrupt and making propaganda. Well, it's very obvious you are making propaganda, and we know you're corrupt because the only way you can afford to make video games is with government handouts. But the fact is, we've made the game we want to talk about and share with others. Yes, you obviously wanted to push an agenda with this video game, and you pulled it off. So yes, we know what you wanted to talk about. It was your agenda. It's not for everyone, and they don't have to play it. And oh no, they're not. They're not. Because before we even get to the fact that he denies a flop, just the fact that he has to say this, let's go over to the numbers. This is from No Room for Wokeness over here on the Steam charts. I don't know when exactly he took this. October 17, 2024 at 3:15 a.m. is when he posted this. 0 players playing right now. All right, it's a small game, a low player base, 3 a.m. 7 players is the 24-hour peak, and 83 players is the all-time high peak that was 2 months ago. Yeah, about those people that didn't like your game and they don't have to play it. Well, guess what? They didn't read the last Wokie's book either, and that flopped hard. Huh. I wonder how Dustborn's doing. Oh, that's right. Nobody's playing it. On the subject of the game's potential audience, Learning inquired the guests as to whether or not Dustborn, claimed by critics, based currently on Abysmal Steam sales numbers, per analytics outlet SteamB, has sold only 7,000 copies through that specific platform, truly is a sales flop. Dustborn is not a flop. The game has received mixed reviews, but also a lot of positive feedback. Those who actually play it seem to enjoy it. Dustborn isn't selling as much as we would like, but we're proud of it and think it's a good game. Oh, so you mean to say it hasn't met expectations? You mean just like Warner Brothers Games said that Justice and Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League also didn't meet expectations and flopped hard. Oh, how about Star Wars Outlaws? It didn't meet Ubisoft's expectations either and has now caused the company to literally completely and totally change the way it might be operating here very shortly. So yeah, 7,000 copies and no one playing and a peak of 8 in the last 24 hours? No, your game is a flop and you even have to admit it doesn't meet sales expectations. But here comes the cope. Even though it's not an immediate success, it has sold far more than what people are saying online. Oh, how much more then? Why don't you give us an actual number? Because you have the sales data, but oh no, you can't let that cat out of the bag because you know it's abysmally as bad as what we all say. I can say that our internal goals for Dustborn haven't been met, but it doesn't mean it's a flop. It can normally take months or years for story-driven games like this to find their audience. So we're not dissatisfied. Oh, you're not? Well, all the fans and all the gamers and all the players out there very much obviously are. Your game has gotten roasted into oblivion. It's turned into a disastrous dumpster fire that no one's buying, no one's playing, and absolutely next to no one ever wanted, with the exception of you and your woke-ass spirit of the age possessed team out there. And now you're getting exactly what you want. So you can quote and you can cope all you want. You even admit in this article and in this interview that it's going to have to change the way you do things going forward. But they are not going to stop. Diversity is positive for everyone. Games like Black Myth Wukong, Mario, and Elden Ring won't stop existing just because we released Dustborn. No, it definitely absolutely will not, because those games are actually successes and make a lot of money. There's room for both these games and everything in between, even those that only appeal to a limited audience. Well, yeah, if you keep getting government handouts, yeah, I guess it will actually be able to be okay just making it to a limited audience. But guess what? eventually you run out of other people's money. Finally asked by the host if this said debate has changed your view of the room for political messages in games, to which Turnaquick confirmed, absolutely not. Nope, this abysmal flop hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. They have completely and totally doubled down. Some games are pure entertainment and focus on the player experience and fun. Yeah, the successful ones. And it's great that such games exist. Other games aren't as fun to play, but are more about the feelings you get from playing them. What the hell are you talking about? What game could you be referencing? And then there are games that can address more serious topics. So yes, boys and girls, this insanely delusional, living in a bubble, possessed by the spirit of the age, game and its director and creator out there are completely and totally insane. They are denying reality in every way, shape, or form, and are clearly realizing that even though they've got massive amounts of backlash, even though the world rejects their ideology and their game, well, they're not going to change their ways. Because boys and girls, they are fully down and in line with the cult. They are completely and totally possessed by the spirit of the age, and they will sacrifice their own company on the altar to their cult. But guess what? They won't have to, because Norway's taxpayers out there are going to continue to front this stuff, are going to continue to push this stuff until they speak out and do it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I hope Norway keeps paying for games like this, because boys and girls, it's a beautiful thing to roast, laugh, make fun of, and ridicule these people for, because we around here are making shame great again. And the Dustborn director, your delusional, insane ass, absolutely deserves to be shamed, laughed, and ridiculed, because you are insane to think that Dustborn is anything more than a flop with the abysmal numbers we have, the abysmal ratings that they've got, and the abysmal sales that you and we all know actually exist. At the end of the day, Dustborn, go woke, go broke, and you get exactly what you deserve. Your own little delusional bubble will not be able to deny the reality of the actual world out there.